Today is gonna be a day about air fryers. I can take all the applause because I can say that I am kind of like our Airfryer Queen. I have done so many, probably I'm one of, maybe I am the person. Who am I? I can very well say who have used air fryer for cooking different various things. If you ask why, I have been using the air fryer a year and a half and I have tried its limits in various things. In this video, I'm going to tell you how air fryer works. So the logic sinks behind your head. In any kind of question you have, you'll be able to answer it yourself. Secondly, what does air fryer save us? Does it save us money? Does it save us time? Or both, or other things? Third, I want to talk about what kind of different devices, instead of like, can we use it as an oven? Can we use it as a fryer? Use it as a stovetop? All kinds of things. What are the things that we can cook with the air fryer? And what are the things that it's not so great to cook with the air fryer? So this is gonna be a video about all these, including some different most popular air fryers and when we want to buy, what we have to get into consideration. Air fryer has two compartments. One, where we put the stuff to cook. It is like an empty bowl. It has some kind of a thing with some holes. It could be a wire rack. It could be a tray. And on top, in the middle, there's a big resistance, which is a strong one, and a thick fan, which helps to move the air in the air fryer as soon as possible. So when we put something in, turn on the air fryer, the resistance starts to heat very fast, and with the fan it goes around whatever. If it's the chips, it goes around the chips so well, and the hot air helps it to fry mostly, or to cook whatever it is. And it works in such a way, like for example, water gets to 100 degrees, but oil can get into 200 220 degrees. So what it does, oil is really hot, it can cook everything fast. The air fryer works the same way as the hot oil. The hot air inside cooks whatever inside very fast. Basically that's all. And all the air fryers work the same way. First of all, time. Because if we want to cook something in the oven, how does this oven work? We get in, sorry, it's a dirty one. We heat up, but how the oven is like heats up from the top resistance, bottom resistance, sometimes with a fan. But first, all the parts of the oven has to get really hot, the metal part. Then it can move into like 200 degrees and then heat up whatever we put inside. So for an oven like this to come into 200, 250 degrees, it needs at least 10 minutes of heat given to the oven. So this is a loss of time. But in this, we have a small amount of space. We have the big resistance. The resistance is really resistance like the Star Wars. The resistance is very close to whatever we're gonna cook in. So the heat starts to work immediately. So we don't need to preheat anything. If we are really keen on it, at maximum 1 minute of preheating. So it saves us an incredible amount of time. In terms of cooking or frying or baking something in these air fryers, I know the Philips ones the most, the air fryers. At least 35% of time is saved. For example, if I'm baking something in 40 minutes, it takes me 25 minutes to cook around, or if it's an hour, 40 minutes kind of thing. Secondly, it saves us energy because it cooks in a less amount of time. For example, I cook bread in 8 minutes. The outside becomes so crunchy and the inside is so moist. It's amazing. Like, I really don't like cooking bread in the oven anymore, I have to tell you. Anyways, so it saves us a lot of energy. It saves us energy in two ways. Shorter cooking time, first. Second, not preheating. That's the second thing. So we don't lose the energy of heating around the oven in this. And third, for example, I use air fryers to heat things a lot. For example, here I have cooked some pide kind of things. As you can see, I have to clean the bottom of the oven, I have to clean this and some other things. But in here, we just have this part, which we can take out and put it in the washing machine. Maximum, we have to clean the bottom as well, and that's it. So there are less dishes to clean. And for example, when I sometimes use it to melt oil, for example, I'm going to make a baklava, I'm going to do it in the air fryer, I need to heat the butter. So I just put it in a small enamelware and then heat it up and just use it. Instead, if I have to do it on the stove top, I have to have a pan, then I have to heat that pan and then melt. So less dishes, again, saving time. 4. Oil is becoming more and more expensive every day, and I'm not talking about the petrol oil. I'm talking about used to be the cheapest canola oil, sunflower oil, olive oil, butter. All these oils are really, really expensive. And when you deep fry, you have to use a lot of these oils. And now, when you want to fry French fries, you need like 1 or 2 tablespoons of oil, and that's all you need. And when you multiply that by if you want chips every week, probably the air fryer will pay itself in a year, less than a year. 5. Calories. If we say a tablespoon is 15 grams, yes, 1 milliliter of oil is 9 calories. So each spoon of oil means 135 calories. The more oil you use in a dish, it increases in calories. So air fryer rather than oil frying. At the beginning, it doesn't save us, that's for sure. But in the end, it saves us a lot of money. So, time, energy, cleaning agents and water, oil, calorie, and money. 6 things basically that air fryer helps us save. If you like this video and enjoy it, you might lose us all around the world. It's great time to subscribe now. And if you're already a subscriber, please give us a thumbs up for our efforts. That means so much. That's how the word spreads. Thank you. And Bahar reminds us the super thing. This question came to when my brother was not so sure. I bought him his air fryer and he wasn't sure where to use it and how to use it. And I said, brother, baking is so great. Breads, making souffle, for example. I thought that souffle wouldn't be so good because the air is flowing and like technically I never open a fan in the oven because the flowing air would lessen the rise of the souffle kind of thing. But still something magically, it helps. I don't know. That is something I haven't yet understood why. My souffles rise amazingly, first of all. Secondly, because it takes a shorter amount of time to cook and the heat flows very equally around, we get this perfect ones. But I said this, but I know in Philips it's very good. Xiaomi not so bad at all. But in some air fryers, this balance is not there yet. Some of the resistances, some air fryers are very close to the bottom, so sometimes it burns the top and the bottom is not cooked really well. So there are some air fryers in the world which doesn't have a great balance. But normally if it's a machine that has its balance really well, it cooks everything from the top to bottom perfectly. Secondly, to fry, of course. To fry French fries, all the refrigerate like onion rings, croquettes, all those things are really nice. Bureks are really good. And at the same time, I use it a lot to fry vegetables. Winter vegetables, fall veggies, with a bit of oil you put in and you toss it. After a while you put some garlic and olive oil and you mix it and they become gorgeous. Then also to heat up. For example, you have some rice and some few maybe bean dish that you have eaten yesterday and you have to heat it up. But in this case, 2 bowls, one goes for the rice, the other one for the beans. And you put it in, you just mix it in every minute. In 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you heat your things. So it works kind of like a microwave. Microwaves, I know some people like me haven't used it for years and some are trying to quit. So great alternative to microwaves for the people who love using microwaves. To defrost, what I do, I make meatballs, other stuff. They're in my refrigerator. I go to my house at night, very tired. I take out my frozen meatballs and put it in, and in 7 minutes to 8 minutes, I have the perfect ones. So it's great to defrost when you do it on a stove top. some other things get dirty. In this case, nothing gets dirty, and so it's so good. It's also great to melt, as I said. You need to melt, let's say, some butter, some cheese. Great. Also to grill, like you want to make a toast in the morning, you have a simit or a bagel, you want to heat it up, you just put it in for 1 minute or 2 minutes, it's great. Bringing back the bread to life is also good. You have a stale bread, you water the bottom and the top and you put it in, and in 2 minutes, voila, you have the fresh bread. Also to dry. In Turkey, unfortunately, Philips do not have the necessary accessories to make it, but for drying apples, drying stuff, because its air is flowing in and you can adjust the heat. If you have like 2-3 of these layers all together, you can very fast dry anything you like, from oranges to meat. You can use it for drying. So basically these are some different functions of air fryers. And in the old days, air fryers were just like with holes. Now almost all of them have with them some cups like this. So this helps us to make like cakes, etc, etc. And also some like mac and cheese, casserole dishes. These are really, really good. By the way, for example, you say, Refika, I bought an old one, and in these old ones, they don't come with such things. These are not needed. Actually, you can use, like, the good thing is this uses almost all the space. So this takes up 1.4 liters. But you can use a cake mold of what you have, or you can use a plate like this, put it inside and do whatever you like, an enamelware. Or a Pyrex as well. Enamelware is Refika'dan. You can buy it on Etsy if you like, guys. So it's okay. Anyways, just kidding. It's right, but I'm kidding. Anyways, okay, so you can use those any kind of place that you can put it in the oven, you can put it in the air fryer. Great in bread, great in muffins, souffles, cakes, pre-cooked fries and onions. Great in, I think, as Turkish people, we have over 100 different kind of eggplant recipes. It fries the eggplant really nice, because if you don't cook the eggplant in the right way, the taste is almost unedible. But if you cook it in a great way, the eggplant is much better than meat, much better than many of the good things in life. Also, meatballs, chicken is great, crunchy outside, juicy inside. So good with those kind of stuff. Even boiling an egg is possible in the air fryer. What you should do, you just put the egg, let's say, to 8 minutes. The outside becomes a bit dry, and to prohibit that from really drying up is you take the egg out after the minute you want to use it, put it under the running water for a bit and crack it under the water. So then the eggshell don't stick to the egg white, because when it's very dry, sometimes that happens. So instead of boiling it water, you can use the air fryer to make perfect boiled eggs. So something also really interesting and nice to have. There are some things you have to push too much of yourself to cook. For example, if you want to make a pudding, flour, milk and continuously shaken, air fryer is not a place for that. Or if you want to sear really nicely, it's not so easy to sear until you sear. For example, if you want to make a big steak, it's hard. But what you can do when you want to sear is, this Xiaomi is good in this. You can put this bottom, you can put this tray a little higher like this, just like this, and then put it in. The meat is gonna be closer to the resistance, which means closer to the heat. So it's gonna be like more like a grilling thing. So one side will be grilled and you can turn it and you can sear it better. But if it's a steak, still stovetop works much better. Also, it's hard to make stews and pots, like in terms of why. For example, you have to sear the meat and then put some onions and sear that, and then put some veggies and some wine maybe, or something, whatever, and then let it cook for a while. Air fryer would be unnecessary to use in such a thing.
So, I see that you're in love with your air fryer.
Yes.
Give us some cons. What are the cons of air fryer?
It's plastic outside. Does it count? I don't like the plastic, so it's plastic outside. That's one thing. My brother made fish. Probably he put the fish in a higher way. Probably it stick to the here, and for a while the air fryer smelled like fish. and they weren't able to clean it. That was one thing. In that case, let me tell you, let the air fryer work for like 10-15 minutes empty and then clean it well and let it work for another 5 to 10 minutes again to get the fish smell out. That is like cooking fish is tricky when it's such a closed space and usually you don't clean the top. We saw a lady who cleans top of the air fryer with a hose. Don't be one of those people. But like if you're really obsessive, this might piss you off a bit. Second thing, not this one, but almost all the air fryers are Teflon inside, non-stick, and I am personally against using Teflons. I have another con to tell. Even the biggest one have sometimes a bit small space. Like if you want to make something like a lahmacun or a pizza, the area that you can use is small. Even though you might have 2 trays, but it's not still the same thing. The area becomes small, so you have to like do it over and over again. I couldn't find any more cons. It's electric and you use electric maybe.
What is gonna be weird?
You're right. Okay, so that's basically it. But if you have other cons, please write it down. If you have other pros, please also write them down. I think this video is quite long. I hope I haven't bored you guys. If you have other questions, please write them down. If you want another video, also write it down. If you have any other subject, Refika, please tell me about this. Tell me. Take great care.